you know, the implication is this looks pretty bad for you. And the offer was, well, look, you can buy the rights to this book for, I think it was $20 million. That sounds, to my recollection, I believe that's what it was. And he said no. And then the civil lawsuit file came in the aftermath of that.
All right, let's get into this Diddy thing. Let's
Yeah, I will say right off the bat that it's been, what is it, 2.5 months since the verdict. So the details are not, quite. I mean, I remember obviously going to the trial, but the details are not quite as fresh to my mind as they were the second it was over. But I'm happy to give it a go and talk about my impressions, analysis, and what I remember it being there.
So let's see if you remember this one, because there was a certain situation. Well, let's start off with how it kind of started.
Yeah.
There was a talk of during the trial how Cassie kind of, I don't know if it was, now correct me if I'm wrong, I could be chopping it up and just, yeah. So I guess maybe Cassie through her mom had reached out to Puff, and there was some sort of book just with some real dirt in it, and that she was going to put it out or write a book. And if she wasn't going to get paid, can you
that's true. Yep. So I don't know about the for her mom part. You may know more about that than me, but yes, like that was the initial approach, was her basically saying, look, I'm coming to terms with, from her point of view, all of the bad stuff, all the abuse that happened to me during our relationship. And, I have this book and I've written down everything that happened. And, the implication is this looks pretty bad for you. And the offer was, well, look, you can buy the rights to this book for, I think it was $20 million. That sounds, to my recollection, I believe that's what it was. And he said no. And then the civil lawsuit file came in the aftermath of that.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. See if we could fill this part in for me, if this is explained anywhere in the trial. Okay, how this, because this is where Diddy fucks up at, was that the lawsuit becomes public, and then he settles, if I'm not correct, maybe within a day. Legend has
it was within a day.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yep. Filed
for money. We didn't know how much at the time. It's now confirmed it was $20 million.
And it's almost like a domino effect, because this opens the doors for law enforcement to come in and just come and poke around.
Yeah, as far as we know, that's the thing that kicked off the federal investigation. It obviously also kicked off countless civil suits, almost all of which are still sort of winding their way through the courts. They had to wait for the criminal trial to finish up before they could really get going. So yeah, that was the thing that kind of started everything, for sure.
I guess maybe it's something for me to ask you, kind of be like a silly question. Why didn't he just kind of, once she filed, pay right away as soon as she filed, so this wouldn't get leaked out in the public?
When he gets this deal about the thing about the book, I mean, look, you'd have to ask him. You get him on the, you get him on the show. You can ask him. But look, I think, he has. Let me add the caveat that to all of this is that he was found not guilty on the most serious charges. And so the jury didn't buy, it's hard to tell exactly what the jury thought. The only one who's given an interview, as far as I know, is an alternate who wasn't there for the deliberations. But, he was found not guilty on a lot of this stuff. But if you believe the testimony, he has done a lot of stuff for a lot of years with minimal consequences. So, from his point of view, perhaps, if you believe he did a lot of this stuff that the testimony said he did, why would you pay someone $20 million? You know, you've made it to your 50s without really facing consequences. So, you know, why do you think it would start now? Why should you give up, you know, a not insignificant chunk of money, even for him? You know, and look, if there's one thing I've found out as a reporter, it's that if you pay someone for something, that doesn't stay secret very long. And, you know, presumably he thought it would invite other people coming to him and saying, hey, pay me for this, or I'll write a book too. I'm not saying the details would have leaked out, but the fact that he paid,
It kind of
you know, 8 figures, is that the right number? Yeah, 8 figures. That I don't think that would have stayed secret for long, and probably would have. He thinks, you know, I could imagine it inviting other people to approach him with the same sort of deal.
Right. Well, it kind of happened anyway. Everybody just came out the woodwork and sued him. Hey, I tripped on a banana peel, and it was Diddy's fault. I deserve to get
To
paid.
be clear, like a lot of these suits are alleging very, very serious behavior, and
Right.
so it's not I tripped a bit on a banana peel. It's you sexually assaulted me, right? There's a difference there. So let's, you know, there have been a small number of the suits, like the one that alleges a tunnel, that obviously are put out by people who are not altogether there, right?
Right.
But
Yeah.
you know, people can say it's pretty easy to sue someone in you know, in
Yeah.
state or federal court, right? There's not a bar to entry particularly. So if you have, you know, hundreds and hundreds of suits, you know, there's a chance that, particularly with a public figure, there's a chance that some minuscule amount of them are going to end up being by people who aren't well and are sort of wholly imagining stuff. But,
Right.
you know, a lot of them are still playing out. So, you know, we'll see what happens.